This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
Amos Tepi gives a brief update on telecom's transformation and progress. PNG and Republic of Korea sign a reciprocal visa waiver arrangement. And Coca-Cola launched its first recycling scheme in Papua New Guinea. A very good evening. This is National EMTV News. I'm Godwin Eki. Thank you for joining us. The 27th Pacific Islands Telecommunications Association Annual General Meeting Business Forum and Expo saw various organizations set up their expo booths at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. Of that, two media companies were EMTV and Kalang Advertising Limited, which radio broadcast FM 100 and Hot 93 FM come under.
To make our digital services.
The 27th Pacific Islands Telecommunications Annual General Meeting, Business Forum and Expo, hosted by Papua New Guinea's leading telecommunications company, Telecom Limited, saw its first day set up with business exhibition booths of various companies. Two of the participating media and advertising organizations set up their information booths were EMTV and Kalang Advertising Limited. EMTV did its setup with a display of information regarding the company's television programs, with 3 cameras displayed, showing the transitioning of camera equipment used back in the 1990s, transitioning from Sony BVW 400 camera to Sony digital cameras, DSLR 300 in 1999 till present times, where 4K cameras are being used. EMTV's Business Development Executive, Marianne Haikare, gave a brief of their setup this afternoon.
EMTV is proud to be one of the participants in this PITA conference. As you can see, what we are displaying here is our cameras that were used in the 80s, 90s, and up to now. Then we have our pamphlets of each of our programs that we also have on EMTV.
Kalang Advertising Limited had Benjamin Rapila from FM 100 who gave a brief of their setup today.
And so yesterday is the first day of the PITA Business Expo and Forum. It wasn't a really big turnout, but it's the first day, so expected. Also, the weather played a big part as well. So,
the PITA AGM continues tomorrow at 8 a.m. and will end on Thursday, the 1st of June 2023. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea's longest-serving telecommunications provider Telecom Limited is into its second day of hosting the 2023 Pacific Islands Telecommunications Association's 27th AGM Business Forum and Expo at the Hilton Hotel in Port Moresby. Telecom Limited Chief Executive Officer Amos Tepi has stated that the highlight so far is the overwhelming response received from participants from all over 350 plus delegates and 50 organizations from different Pacific Island countries.
Day 2 of PITA 27 began this morning with discussions and topics held in the banquet hall of the Hilton Hotel. Speaking in an exclusive interview with Telecom's Amos Tepi, the CEO spoke of what the highlight has been after months and weeks of organizing and planning to put the event together.
Highlight for today, day 1, is awesome, I can say it. It's a first of its kind. We didn't expect a number like that, 357. 50 delegates, organizations, not delegates, but organizations registered. And then on top of that, we have acting Prime Minister coming in to officiate opening of the PITA 27 AGM. We have a visitor from Tuvalu, Minister for Communication and Foreign Affairs. It was so amazing. I'm so happy to say that it was the best ever first day.
In getting a little insight into the mindset of hosting the PETA AGM Business Forum and Expo in Port Moresby, Mr. Tepi revealed it was also to change the mindset and perceptions, citing the dream of his predecessor and former telecom chief executive, the late Peter Locko.
But when they were looking for somebody to host PETA, I put my hand up and said, look, we want to host PETA and PNG. The reason behind the mindset was that if I take PETA on board, I want to do the best I can to showcase to all the Pacific Island countries, Polynesian, Micronesia, Melanesia, all the other countries who also joined, because we want to give them something different compared to what they were doing all these years they were doing PETA Business Forum around.
Part of changing perceptions is partnership and showcasing our culture. Mr. Tepi thanked all those involved in supporting Telecom Limited as corporate sponsors, gold and silver sponsors. He made special mention of the Tourism Promotion Authority in partnering with Telecom and showcasing our diverse culture and tradition.
I must thank the CEO of Tourism Promotion Authority and his management team. When first we reached out to them, they said, look, we bring in these countries over. When we ask how many come in and the registration start getting up and the numbers start building up to 22 countries, I said, no, we need to reach out to Tourism Promotion Authority CEO to let him know that these are the visitors who are coming into our country. If we don't reach out and we're going to do it ourselves, it's kind of like half complete. You want to have a full complete where you can get the message out of our country to these visitors who are coming into our land. When they come, they need to see our culture. That was something that was playing in my back. I said, we can't just hold a business forum, but we must have something culture that we need to put it together.
The 4-day program will end on Thursday, June the 1st, and the underlying theme showcased to the visiting delegation is that Port Moresby is open and ready for business. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
Day 2 of Pacific Islands Telecommunication Association 27th AGM Business Forum and Expo. Telecom Limited Chief Executive Officer Amos Tepi gave a brief highlight on Telecom's transformation and progress.
CEO Tepi explained to the 300-plus participants on the transformation Telecom Limited has been through with its capabilities with all its subsidiary companies in the likes of EMTV, Daytech, Yellow Pages and Kalang Advertising Limited.
We cover 22 provinces. Our presence around the provinces in the country, 22 provinces, and we cover on the retail side. In Solomon Islands, we cover about 4 out of 9 and successfully completed our merger in the retail business. When I said merger, is about B-Mobile used to be previously B-Mobile Solomon Islands and PNG, and Telecom 4G, all been put together as one company.
Mr. Tepi further elaborated on the government's Vision 2050, which is to have 100% communication access to the people nationwide.
And also we need to establish satellite network around the country as well. Pretty much you may or may not aware of the telecom business is challenged with trying to build network across the country. Our terrains in the countries are challenging place to operate retail business.
CEO Tepi said one area Telecom is looking at is the information database, and as mandated by the government, Telecom has plans in place in ensuring the required services are delivered to the people of PNG.
Long-term development strategy we're looking at 2010 to 2030 is about achieving a modern and affordable ITC system that will reach part of the country. The long-term the telecom looking at as well is the 800 mobile subscribers per 1,000 people by 2030. That's a long-term strategy we're working towards in line with our good secretary for communication.
Some key challenges that telecom is facing were also outlined by Mr. Tepi, and he mentioned plans that are in place in addressing these challenges and achieving its objectives as per mandate by the government. He further added that cybersecurity is important and telecom takes this matter seriously in protecting its customers' information.
One of those things that I want to highlight here is about the ISO 9001 certification. We actually got that in 2022, last year. It's something that all business should do going forward. And then also ISO 27001 certification, soon we'll get that. I think everyone talked about cybersecurity, and we are moving into that direction to make sure we protect all the information, the customers' information, and also our business as well.
Mr. Tepi concluded his address by highlighting that Telecom Limited is always thriving in improving its services to its customers. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
Telecom Limited has partnered with SkyTel, a telecommunications service provider under the AVCom Space and Defence Group Australia. The partnership with Telecom will see improvements in the satellite and telecommunications services in the country.
Telecom Limited CEO Amos Tepi said this partnership will help improve connectivity in the country.
The reason why we're going with SkyTel, some areas in the country, we have faced challenge with our connectivity, especially connecting the customers from the rural back into our main hub.
Mr. Tepi said the signing was timely with the PETA Forum. He said the partnership is a commercial agreement for 24 months.
It's a timely that we signed this to let our clients here in the country know that now we can bring their services and look after them in terms of the connectivity into those remote sites. So we are now happy to announce that SkyTel is our partner.
Managing Director for AVCom, Michael Kratt, said this partnership shows the continuous partnership between Australia and PNG. He said this will improve the digital economy.
We all know telecommunications is a critical enabler of so many other industries. It forms the base of the economy, the digital economy, and it's exciting to be here with you.
SkyTel is a licensed telecommunications service provider specializing in the use of satellites to connect people, places and things to the internet. SkyTel is under the AVCom Space and Defence Group, one of Australia's most trusted sovereign ground segment provider. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
To other news making headlines, and Prime Minister and Minister for Foreign Affairs James Marape and Republic of Korea Foreign Minister Park Chin yesterday signed reciprocal visa waiver arrangements between the two countries in Seoul, Korea. PM Marape said work for this arrangement started in 2016 and was now concluded with the signing of the arrangement.
Prime Minister James Marape said PNG and Korea already participated in the APEC Business Travel Card Scheme, where members use the ABTC cards as a visa to travel to other member economies and also as a visa exemption or entry permit to travel within the confines of member economies. Marape said the new reciprocal visa waiver arrangements would allow officials to travel between both countries. He said PNG would also look into putting in place visa on arrival systems for all other Korean passport holders. Prime Minister Marape said the signing of the agreement was of great joy to him as someone who believes in the Korean success story. Marape said it would mean better relations between both countries, including people-to-people, business and investors. Prime Minister Marape said he would like to see more Korean investors and businesses coming to PNG to do business and have more PNG products, including coffee, sold to the Korean market. Prime Minister Marape told Minister Park that there were already many Korean products in PNG shops, offices and homes, including brands such as Samsung and Hyundai. A Korean construction company has won the construction contract for the Papua LNG project. Prime Minister Marape said he was aware of the concerns of the government of Korea on the safety of Koreans who live and do business in PNG. He assured the Korean foreign minister that safety was of paramount importance in PNG and people who perpetrated incidents like the one that took the life of a Korean citizen last week would face the full force of the law. Prime Minister Marape also told Minister Park that while PNG shared challenges faced by Pacific Island countries, he wanted one-on-one bilateral arrangements with Korea, apart from the Pacific Islands Forum arrangements. Minister Park assured Prime Minister Marape that he would look into one-on-one bilateral arrangements with PNG, apart from the arrangements with the PIF. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. Prime Minister James Marape met with the Deputy Prime Minister of Australia, Richard Marles, yesterday on the margins of the inaugural Korea-Pacific Islands Summit in Seoul, Korea. Prime Minister Marape and Deputy Prime Minister Marles discussed a number of issues of concern for both countries, including giving each other updates on the recently signed Defence Cooperation Agreement with the United States and the proposed bilateral security treaty with Australia, visa issues and the PNG NRL bid.
Our issues to be... Prime Minister James Marape informed Australian Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles that the bilateral security treaty that Australia would like to have with Papua New Guinea is a work in progress at the moment. Marape said, and I quote, "It's a work in progress and requires PNG's side to consult up domestic processes and sovereign laws in relation to certain wordings and provisions." End quote. Prime Minister Marape also conveyed his apologies to Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese for the delay in formalising this proposed treaty with Australia. For the DCA with the US, Prime Minister Marape informed that it was centred on improving the PNG Defence Force's capabilities and interoperability, including protecting our frontiers and sovereignty. Prime Minister Marape said it was non-discriminatory and PNG is open to entering into similar agreements with its other bilateral partners. The DCA would also complement domestic law enforcement. For visa issues, Deputy Prime Minister Marles informed Prime Minister Marape that the current Australian government was fully aware of the situation and following the ministerial forum in February this year in Canberra had established a joint ministerial team to work on bringing the Australian visa processing facility back on shore to PNG. Prime Minister Marape, in his response, said that all processes from both sides had to be attended to in order for smooth facilitation and for citizens and businesses to continue without much hindrance now and heading into 2025, when PNG celebrates 50 years of nationhood. Marape then informed Deputy Prime Minister Marles that the Republic of Korea and Papua New Guinea had just signed a visa waiver agreement between both countries in the morning before his meeting with Marles. In closing, Prime Minister Marape assured Deputy Prime Minister Marles that PNG in no way would compromise its excellent existing bilateral relations with Australia and further stressed that PNG was capable of managing its sovereign affairs on its terms, systems and processes. Rocky Iso, National EMTV News.
To some education news now, and district education team in Imbongu District, Southern Highlands Province is hosting a cluster training for head teachers of all primary schools within the district. The launching of the training program was done yesterday at Imbongu District headquarters at Walum Station.
Over 30 head teachers are attending a week's training on some very important areas in managing schools for better outcomes going forward. It is understood that the program is in line with the national government's plans. The head teachers would be introduced to National Quality School Standard Framework, Finance Management Training, School Learning Improvement Program, and Basic Computing. According to Chairperson Mini Akeya, the aim is to improve delivery of quality education.
Head teachers in service meeting based on Nubla education systems, structure blogan 166 system when not of them come up blogan. Now, Inchelo Rislap and plenty or something where teachers by making Inchelo school, one-on school role.
Imbongu District Education Advisor Samson Johannes made mention that he would be making random visits to each school later to see how they proceed. Senior representatives of Imbongu District and the district education sector also shared sentiments on the importance of having such a program in the district. Meanwhile, a business house called Central Business Systems made a donation of a printing machine for the headmasters to learn how to use. The workshop is expected to conclude on Thursday. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
Central Business Systems, a company selling high-quality office equipment, has pledged its support to schools in the Highlands region. According to CBS Mount Hagen branch manager Kepike Yupe, schools can purchase equipment like multi-purpose printers in installments.
CBS public-private partnership interest with schools was shown at Imbongu, Southern Highlands Province yesterday when Mr. Yupe presented a printer and other items for primary school head teachers at a cluster workshop at Walum. EMTV followed up with Mr. Yupe at Mount Hagen today to locate their shop. The visit coincided with a check presentation by Hagen United Primary School headmaster Philip Post for a printer.
The CBS will never forget you. We'll do the business and support you all the time.
Thank you.
So that we have to do the government-private partnership with the all the schools around the Upper Highlands region as well as Western Highlands. Thank you so much, Philip.
Kepike said with schools having shortage of textbooks and other learning materials, photocopying can solve some problems. He also gave assurance that the equipment they sell are directly from Japan and schools will be given more priority. They also provide assistance in teaching clients how to set up and operate the machines. CBS is located in Komkui House in the heart of Mount Hagen City, also known as the 6-story building. Amanda Ilaitia, National EMTV News.
The inmates of Bayong Correctional Service in Madang now have the opportunity to sell their products through the recently established Med Markets. The Med Markets event started this year and is held once every month and is set to purposely to bring together and expose SMEs in Madang. The women inmates of Bayong CS were among many of the groups who were invited to take part in this month's Med Markets.
Providing life skills training and knowledge is an integral part of correctional services as it will enable inmates to find opportunities after serving their sentences. Officer in charge of female inmates at the Beyond Prison, Sergeant Janet Kanawi, said they provide various in-house trainings such as sewing, baking, gardening, arts and crafts, and many other skills which the inmates can use to earn a living when they return to their communities.
Time only finish, time only come out, the community, they have to starting life long all life. Because now looking it's very expensive time you may start community. So one time there's a lot only no go crabs nothing. Time will go crabs. People start putting more go inside this program people line him or something to start. You got plenty school work will come inside.
Sergeant Kanawi said funds raised from selling the items the inmates make goes back to a trust fund set up by the CS headquarters and is used to purchase equipment and supplies needed to run the various rehabilitation programs in the institution. She said the institution is planning to introduce more rehabilitation programs soon. Female inmate Manuela Mago said the Med Markets provide a safe space for the inmates to come out and showcase and sell their products.
Kind of big event or same, and kind of same. Mibla no na go outside nothing because mibla make heavy no community. Kind of a big event or same. Na mibla you got some invitation of Salim kind of mibla and an opportunity to mibla no mibla this time one something mibla like. It's kind of invitation na big day you say maybe feel safe instead of maybe go start the private main market na maybe.
Margot said this month is the second month they took part in the event, and she is very happy that Madain has an event like this that involves the inmates. Amanda Elaitia, National MTV News.
Recycling is important as it helps to reduce the need for landfill and more costly forms of disposal. As part of its global sustainability commitment, Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners and Coca-Cola PNG have partnered with Brannis Recycling Limited to launch a PET plastic beverage bottle collection program.
According to Coca-Cola Euro-Pacific Partners Commercial Director for PNG, Tim Solly, this is believed to be the first collection and recycling scheme launched in Papua New Guinea. Port Moresby residents can now return their empty PET plastic beverage bottles in exchange for cash. Mr. Solly further elaborates.
The way that it works is that we ask people to collect their PET waste, and the waste can be from any PET product. It doesn't just have to be from the Coca-Cola range. They bring it to one of the Brannis collection centres in Port Moresby, and for every 1 kilo they bring, they'll be given 1 kina for every kilo. Then what happens is Brannis will then process that flake, and then that flake will be sent offshore for recycling.
Beginning as a pilot in August 2022, 40 tons of PET plastic beverage bottles have already been collected and shipped offshore for recycling as part of the program. When asked if this program will be extended to other centres throughout PNG, this was Mr. Solly's response.
So the ultimate aim is that we actually have reach across the whole of Papua New Guinea. We're starting initially by focusing on Port Moresby, and we're doing that to make sure that we can get the learnings and make sure it works. Once we have confidence that it's working, we're going to expand it next to Lae, and that will likely be towards the end of this year or early next, and then we will expand from there, initially following the Brannis footprint. So Brannis is our collection partner. They do have collection sites around the whole country, and so we will be expanding through their footprint and through their network.
The catch is that consumers can bring their empty PET plastic beverage bottles of any brand to Brannis collection centres. Mr. Solly stressed on the importance of awareness that will spearhead this program.
We do not want plastic to go into waterways and into the beautiful environment that is in PNG. So the single biggest awareness is, if you have PET plastic, pick it up, collect it, recycle it, earn money, and keep the environment clean.
The collection of PET plastic beverage bottles is one of the several sustainability initiatives currently being undertaken by the Coca-Cola system in PNG. Amanda Elaitia, National MTV News.
And now taking a look at the NESFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.2830 US in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina was buying $0.2745 US, $0.4180 Australian dollars, $0.2486 euro, 38.24 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold is trading higher, coffee closed lower, cocoa closed lower, copra closed higher, palm oil closed lower, crude oil is trading lower, and copper closed higher. On the stock market, the Dow Jones closed higher, the ASX 200 is trading higher, and the All Ordinaries is trading higher. National MTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National MTV News. Moving to overseas news now, a 31-year-old lawyer turned commander has become one of the faces of Ukraine's resistance against Russian invaders while fighting in the war.
15 months ago, Olga Bigar was a lawyer and a PhD student. Now she's the commander of a mortar unit and a veteran of the Battle of Bakhmut.
In Bakhmut, you understand that your life and all things that you thought before is important are not important, absolutely.
Her unit spent 5 months on the front lines fighting Russian forces in one of the bloodiest battles of the 21st century.
You see how our buildings and houses are blowing up, how people are dying, and you understand at that moment that we have something more important than money, that real estate, that cars, and we have very important thing, our freedom, democracy, and law.
Olga, whose call sign is Witch, documented her days on the front lines on TikTok, where she has more than 100,000 followers. A fierce fighter on the battlefield, she's just as important off it, inspiring a war-weary nation.
I just made a small video that everything is okay in Bakhmut. And then I've tried to make this video every day when I've been to Bakhmut.
What she saw there was unimaginable.
In Bakhmut, we've seen the real face of Russia.
What is that real face that you saw there?
The face of murder. We've seen cruelties and medieval things in Bakhmut.
The Wagner mercenary group says it lost 20,000 troops in Bakhmut. Olga describes them as cruel and mad. She says they forced their own troops at gunpoint to demine her unit's defensive positions.
The Russians are using people for demining territories.
So you're saying
that's medieval.
So you're saying they're using people to step on mines?
Yes.
And
to make a hole in our defense and then to attack our positions.
Sudan's warring military factions have agreed to a 5-day extension of a ceasefire agreement.
The United States and Saudi Arabia, which brokered the deal, say the extension will allow time for further humanitarian assistance. Sudan's army and the RSF have been fighting for more than 6 weeks over how to return to civilian rule. Hundreds of civilians have been killed in the conflict.
Public outcry continues in South Australia as the states protest on anti-protest laws. The bill to be debated could see protesters facing fines up to $50,000 and possible jail time.
About 2 weeks ago, Adelaide saw a couple of days of disruptive action. We saw people swinging from abseiling from the Adelaide Bridge. We also saw traffic coming to a halt. The flow was stopped. People were delayed in peak hour traffic on North Terrace, which is a very busy street here in Adelaide. Now, that all happened because the opposition opposed changes to the Summaries Offences Act. Now, prior to these changes, the penalty for causing public disruption was only $750, but that has been changed to a maximum of $50,000. Also, there was no jail time before these changes, but since those changes have been made, there's jail time of up to 3 months. And so those changes were passed through the lower house in less than 1 hour. People have been opposing, protests have been happening since that because they said there wasn't enough time for them to scrutinise or debate over the changes that have been made.
It's been a horror week on Victoria's Road with 9 people killed in the space of 4 days, including a 30-year-old woman who is the latest to die on Victoria's roads.
Police say a 30-year-old woman is the latest person to die on Victoria's roads. She was a passenger in a 3-car pile-up on the Princes Freeway in Darnham, east of Melbourne, yesterday morning. Police say that the traffic had actually slowed because of roadside mowing, meaning that one of the lanes was actually blocked to traffic. And it appears as if this truck has come up from behind and struck the last in the line of cars, setting off a chain reaction. Now, this 30-year-old woman sadly died at the scene, while the 32-year-old female driver of the Jeep suffered critical injuries and was flown to the Royal Melbourne Hospital, where she remains in a critical condition this morning. Also injured was a teenage girl in the back seat of that car. She suffered serious injuries and was taken to hospital, and another woman was also taken to hospital with injuries as well, while 2 other men in another vehicle were assessed at the scene. Police say the truck driver is currently assisting police with their inquiries, and this comes as we've heard that the condition of the sole survivor of that horrific quadruple fatality on the weekend has improved. The sole survivor was a 17-year-old teenage girl, and she has now been listed as serious but stable. She was originally listed as suffering from critical injuries in that really horrific crash that happened when a car struck a tree near Hamilton in Victoria's southwest on the weekend. In that car as well, who died 2 teenage boys, a teenage girl and a woman also aged in her 30s. And police say that they believe that the car was travelling well in excess of 100 kilometres per hour when it struck that tree. So after this really horror run of fatalities here in Victoria, police are just urging people to slow down and take care on our roads.
You're watching National EMTV News. Trukai Sports is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The National Rugby League competition summed up its Round 7 competition in various venues around the country over the weekend. The EPG Engamioks and the Lace-Necks Tigers are both still undefeated in the competition as of Round 7.
The single header competed at Ipus Oval in Wabeg, as well as the other single header competed in Lay Rugby League Oval, saw the EPG Engamioks and the Lace-Necks Tigers victorious in these matches as they registered their 7th straight consecutive wins this season. In other results, the Port Moresby doubleheader saw the Gas Resources Central Dabaris defeating the Moniplus NCDC Port Moresby Vipers 42-26 points, followed by the main tussle where the Croton Hella Wigmen defeated the PRK Gulf ESO 26-10 points. In the Colorbond single header, saw the Egmac Rabaul Guerrillas defeating the EMK Civic Pride 30 points to 12. This weekend, we'll see Round 8 competed amongst the 12 franchises, and the highlight will witness the battle of the undefeated at Lay Rugby League Oval, where the EPG Engamioks will face off with the Lace-Necks Tigers. Lisa Puni, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome back to Trukai Sports. In overseas sports, tomorrow night's game, one of the State of Origin, takes place in South Adelaide. There are injuries concerns the New South Wales camp as the Queenslanders seem rather optimistic.
Things are looking very good. I know that Melbourne is referred to as the sporting capital of Australia, but I think Adelaide will soon be able to take that title off the Victorians because we've had the gather round, the golf, and now we are going to be hosting the Game 1 of the State of Origin. This is the second time that Adelaide is going to be holding the State of Origin game here. The first time was in 2020. Queensland won that game in front of 25,000 people. Both teams arrived in Adelaide yesterday. Fans are going to have the opportunity to see both coaches and captains in Rundle Mall today. There's going to be a training session here at Adelaide Oval as well. We are expecting to see about 40,000 people come through the gates here at Adelaide Oval tomorrow night. Not all of those fans will be from South Australia. We are going to be seeing a lot of people come in from interstate, which is great for the game, great for South Australia's economy as well. New South Wales does have the better side on paper, but once those players get out across that white line, I'm not sure that is going to matter for too much.
And Charles, there have been a couple of big decisions that have already been made at the selection table.
Yeah, some of those changes have been forced as well. Latrell Mitchell is out with a calf injury. It's not a terribly bad injury. He should just expect to miss this one game. He'll be right for game 2. Matt Burton will be coming into the side, but Emma is the number 1 ticket holder for the Nico Hines fan club. You'll be very excited to see him make his Origin debut. He had a great year last year, winning the Dally M medal. There's a couple of changes for the Maroons as well. Reece Walsh is going to be making his debut. Kalen Ponga and Dane Gangai will be forced out of the side. But a very exciting match tomorrow night. It all kicks off at 7:30 tomorrow night.
And in tennis, Australia's Alex de Minaur is through to the second round of the French Open.
Australian Alex de Minaur is through to the second round of the French Open. De Minaur easily won the first set against Belarusian Ilya Ivashka 6-1 before losing the second 5-7, but he fought back to take out the final 2 sets 6-1, 6-3. The news wasn't so good for fellow Australians Alexei Popyrin or Chris O'Connell, who were both knocked out. In other results, Novak Djokovic had a comfortable win, while world number 1 Carlos Alcaraz breezed into the second round in straight sets. In the women's draw, American Sloane Stephens is through to the second round, as is France's top player, 5th seed Caroline Garcia. 10th seed Petra Kvitova was eliminated, but Ukrainian Elena Svitolina won on her Grand Slam return.
In Premier League, former PSG manager Mauricio Pochettino has been signed by Chelsea following a disastrous season last year.
English Premier League soccer club Chelsea has appointed Argentine Mauricio Pochettino as head coach. The appointment follows a disastrous season for Chelsea, which finished the season in 12th place in the bottom half of the competition for the first time in 25 years. In Pochettino's last job as manager of Paris Saint-Germain, he won the French league title.
That ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, cloudy periods with some rain drizzle. Daru, cloudy periods with few showers. Kerima, cloudy with occasional rain showers. Alatau, cloudy with some rain showers. And Popondetta, cloudy periods with few showers. In the Mamase region, Ley, cloudy periods with some drizzles tonight. Medang, Wewak and Banimo, cloudy periods. In the New Guinea Islands region, Lorengau, cloudy periods with possible brief showers. Kavieng, mostly fine. Kokopo, Rabaul, Kimbe and Buka, cloudy periods with few showers. In the Highlands region, Mount Hagen, cloudy periods with some rain showers and possible thunderstorm. Goroka and Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg, cloudy with some rain showers.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that wraps up the news, sports and weather for Tuesday, the 30th of May, 2023. From all of us here, pleasant viewing. Good night.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.